I'm really appreciative for everybody who is stepping up to run for office. I know it's not an easy thing to do, as I've been on the ballot several times, but I think you'll get some really, really great information from this presentation and how we serve you, because you really are our customers. And we'll hold your hand through the voter pamphlet process, talk to you about voter registration drives, what the filing module looks like. And then throughout the presentation, we're going to open it up for questions. So I'm very excited that we have Scott Haley from the Public Disclosure Commission with us today. And then I'd like to also introduce some of the panelists. Jamie Davidsmeyer is our voter pamphlet extraordinaire. He will be the person you'll work with on submittals and any questions you might have. Riley McAllister is my voter registration lead and rock star, who can answer all things voter registrations, registration drives, as well as candidate filing questions. So we are going to start with Scott. So Scott, thank you very much for coming, and you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Let me share my screen here. Okay, that's right there. Okay, and then yeah. So I'm Scott Haley. I'm one of the disclosure specialists at the Public Disclosure Commission. Public Disclosure Commission's a state agency that's involved with transparency and keeping the voters informed, about what's going on, with their government. Yeah, thanks for having me here today. Okay, so a lot of people are going to get involved with the PDC when they first become a candidate. So I want to talk about some people first actually technically become a candidate for a certain election. It can happen years before. If you start raising or spending money for your campaign, then you are a candidate. A lot of people are going to officially become candidates when they do their declaration of candidacy. That's something you have to in order to be on the ballot, you have to file your declaration of candidacy during filing week, which is coming up. That's May 5th through 9th. So after through 15th. Within 2 weeks of becoming a candidate. Okay, if you're running for a statewide office, if you're running for governor, lieutenant governor, something like that, or if you're running for a county office, if you're running for county commission or county commissioner, county auditor, something like that, there's 2 forms you have to file with the Public Disclosure Commission within 2 weeks of becoming a candidate. And I'll tell you a little more about those in a minute. These are the F1 Personal Financial Affairs Statement and the C1 Candidate Registration. Those are 2 electronic forms that you can access through our website. Do those within 2 weeks of becoming a candidate, which for a lot of people is going to be within 2 weeks of filing your declaration of candidacy. Okay, now if you're not running for a statewide office or for a county, if you're not running for a statewide office or a county office, then what you have to file in the PDC depends a lot on how many registered voters there are in the jurisdiction where they're running for office. Some people might be running for office in a small public utility district or something like that. If there's less than 2,000 voters in your whole in the whole jurisdiction where you're running for office, like the whole school district, whole water district, and you're going to spend less than $7,000 on the race, which is pretty normal for running for office in such a small jurisdiction, then you don't have to report to the PDC. No F1 Personal Financial Affairs Statement, no C1 Candidate Registration. If you're running in a jurisdiction with under 5,000 registered voters, and you're going to raise less than $7,000 on your campaign, which again is pretty normal for such a small jurisdiction, you do your F1 Personal Financial Affairs Statement to us within 2 weeks of becoming a candidate, but no C1 candidate registration. And then if you're running in a jurisdiction of more than 5,000 or more registered voters, or you're going to spend $7,000, raise $7,000 or more on your campaign, get the F1 and the C1 to us within 2 weeks. Okay. Now, when you do your C1 candidate registration, which is an online form that you get through the PDC website, one of the things the form's going to ask you is, do you intend to do mini reporting or full reporting? If you choose the mini reporting option, then the only forms you have to register with the PDC are that F1 and C1 forms. If you do the full reporting option, then you have to send us financial reports explaining, how much you're raising and spending on your campaign. You can mini report. The thing about mini reporting, you can raise and spend no more than $7,000 on your campaign, not including your filing fee when you file your declaration of candidacy. That's not considered part of the 7,000. And you can accept no more than $500 per contributor to your campaign, although the candidate can contribute more than that to their own campaign. That's one thing I wanted to mention. As a candidate, whatever money you spend on your own campaign or loan to your own campaign, that needs to get reported too, just like contributions from any other contributor. If you want to be free to be able to raise more than $7,000 on your campaign, or accept more than $500 from one contributor, then choose the full reporting option. That's kind of the default in our system. Okay. Now, the F1, you have to file the F1 personal financial affairs statement. This is a form that you fill out to report your own personal financial situation. You're actually reporting for yourself, your spouse, or registered domestic partner, if you have one of those, and possibly your dependents. A lot of people don't have to mention their dependents at all in the F1. You report your income, your assets that you had. As a new candidate who's not holding office, you do what we call a previous 12 F1, which is about your financial situation during the 12 months up to the time that you become a candidate. Okay, then, oh, there was something, okay, yeah. Now, I mentioned the C3 and the C4 reports to the campaign. One way to file those is through the filing software that the Public Disclosure Commission provides online. It's called the ORCA filing software, online reporting of campaign activity. We provide that for free online, and we provide technical support from people like me free online. If you don't want to use the ORCA filing software that we provide, the forms do have to be filed electronically. There are commercial alternatives to ORCA. There's businesses you can hire, and they'll help you to get your reports into the PDC. Okay, I want to show you, like I say, if you are full reporting, the reports you send to us on a regular basis are called the Form C3 and the Form C4. I put an example of a C3 report here. For you put you report contributions to the campaign or other money coming in. Every C3 report has a date of deposit on it. You do at least one C3 report for every day that money goes into your campaign bank account. So if you deposit checks into your campaign bank account, or if money goes in there through electronic funds transfer, maybe you're using Blue Wave or something, and get a service like that to do your contributions. Either way, for every day that money goes into your campaign bank account, you do a C3 report. And then the other financial report that you do for your election campaign is the C4 report. This is a financial summary report that you do for your campaign. It covers a period of time instead of one day. Top of the form is receipts. That's money coming in. Lower part of the form is expenditures. That's money going out. This example I have covers 1 month of time. A lot of C4s cover 1 month of time. Then when you get close to an election where you're on the ballot, then you get some special. The 21-day pre-election report covers about 6 weeks of time, and then you get another one, the 7-day pre-election report you have to do. So that'll cover about 2 weeks. If you tell our filing software which elections you're participating in, it'll automatically provide you the right C4 reporting periods. Okay. To file reports to the PDC, you can go to the Public Disclosure Commission's website at pdc.wa.gov with the big picture at the top. Big picture of the Capitol building on there. At the top of the page, there's this white button that I circled, the File Online button. Click that, and it'll take you to our Forms and Reports directory. And you can, to do your C1 candidate registration, you go to this page, click the green File Now button, and you can get started. Okay, so the public, if you want to contact us at the PDC, you know, we're available 8 to 5, 5 days a week. We're in downtown Olympia. You can email us pdc@pdc.wa.gov. Our website is www.pdc.wa.gov. That our website's got a lot of valuable resources, candidates filing guides, all kinds of guides and resources, and the links to the electronic forms. Yeah. Let me stop share. Okay. Do we have questions about PDC or PDC filing?
Questions?
I have a question. Sorry, I don't know how to raise my hand.
Ah,
I have a question. Is there somebody like in person that could help you do this if you get lost or stuck?
well, yeah, I mean, if you call the agency, we pick up the phone. If you want to come to the agency, we have people here. We make sure we have people here in the office 5 days a week, 8 to 5. So if you happen to be in Olympia and you want to talk to someone in person, yeah, we can do that for you. And also email. We have a quick turnaround for answering questions we get via email or through our webpage.
Great, thank you.
Hi, Dean Means. It appears if you're running for a school board that maybe you don't need to do any of these reports, sounds like.
It depends on how many people there are in the school, how many registered voters there are in the school district.
Gotcha.
So if you were in a real small school district, less than 2,000 registered voters, then you don't have to file reports to the PDC. If there's more than 2,000 but less than 5,000 registered voters in the school district, you have to do that F1 personal financial affairs statement, the electronic form about your finances. You need to get that one in within 2 weeks of becoming a candidate. And then if there's more than 5,000 registered voters in the school district, then you do the F1 personal financial affairs statement, the C1 candidate registration, those within 2 weeks. And then if you choose the full reporting on your candidate registration, then you have to do those reports of, your contributions and expenditures to the PDC.
So there's the school district
Mhm.
itself, the entire school district, but then a person who's running for a school board member is running from a smaller portion of that. Which number counts?
Yeah, your reporting requirement is based on the number of registered voters in the whole school district.
Good, thank you.
And one thing I didn't mention that I should probably bring up, if you're in a jurisdiction with more than 5,000 registered voters, or you're going to spend a lot on your campaigns, you have to do the C1 candidate registration. One thing everybody has to do is maintain their campaign books of account. You keep a ledger, you keep your receipts and things with that. When people donate by check, you keep copies of checks. Then within 10 days of an election where you're on the ballot, a member of the public could contact you and request to inspect your campaign books of account. So you have to be, keep your ledger up to date and be ready for that.
Any other questions? All right. Scott, thank you very much.
You're
We
welcome.
always appreciate having you.
Yeah, thank you.
I am going to turn it back to Jamie.
Well, thank you, Auditor Hall. Thanks everyone for being here. Can everybody hear me okay? All right. So, welcome again to the 2025 candidate filing workshop. I'm Jamie Davidsmeyer. I'm the voter outreach coordinator for Thurston County elections. I've been here for 5 years now. I'll be your main contact when it comes to pretty much everything and anything voter pamphlet. But if you have any other questions, feel free. There's a lot of us here that can answer your questions. But if it's voter pamphlet related, it's going to be me. Let's see here. So, getting started. Are you ready to file? A couple of things we'll be going over tonight will be the candidate guide, filing week, deadlines for the voter pamphlet, and some additional information that will help you with your candidacy. This is our website. This is thurstonwavotes.gov. You're going to hear that quite a bit tonight. We have a lot of resources on here. And we're going to cover a bunch of these different tabs. This will look a little different when you get there, just because when we update the election, it'll change where the position of the things are, but all these tabs will be there on the front screen. The one we're going to talk about the most is this candidates, campaigns, and jurisdictions tab. And we're going to get into that as we go along. But just that's where a lot of this information will live. One of the things on that site, or on that tab on our page, is the candidate guide. The cover was the front slide at the beginning. It's got a lot of stuff in it. It's the A to Z resource on candidate filing. It's helpful if it's your first time. It's got a lot of information in there, key filing dates, elections calendar, some stuff just about the voter pamphlet, and some stuff just about elections. So there's a lot, like I said, a lot of stuff in there. Give it a look. It also has a list of all the positions open for filing. You can also get that from our website and from the Secretary of State. The one thing to note in there, or one thing to think about, is voter data requests. If you want to get a list of voters in a particular district, this list can include their voting history and what's called matchbacks. Matchbacks let you know who's returned their ballot during an election, which will help if you're going to go out and do some doorbelling or knocking on doors. You won't spend time reaching out to people that have already voted. So, and I forgot to say early on that I will stop a few times for questions. So if you have one, hold on to it. Just we'll get to it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about candidate qualifications for the offices that are open. We have a few port commissioner positions open, districts 2, 3, and 4 on the ballot this year. The candidates must reside and be a registered voter in the district to file for this office. And then in the primary, only voters within the district will vote. But in the general election, all voters in the county will vote. All the offices open for election this year are nonpartisan, which means that 2 or more candidates have to file to trigger a primary. So candidates.
Excuse me, Jamie, you meant
Yep.
3 or
I'm sorry,
more,
3 or more.
correct?
Yes, I apologize.
Thank
3 or
you.
more candidates. I apologize. Yes. Candidate qualifications for cities. you must be a resident for 1 year, and you must be registered at the time of filing. Town only needs to be a registered voter. That only applies in Thurston County to Bakota. And then when you are filing for office, you confirm on the declaration of candidacy that that you meet the requirements and qualifications to file for that position. That's based on your voter registration. So you're going to want to make sure that's up to date, and that you're agreeing that in that when you confirm that you're attesting that that's the truth. Candidate qualifications for district director. For Centralia and Griffin, it's a little different. You can live anywhere in the district. And then candidates for Centralia will also file with Lewis County and not with Thurston County, because the larger portion of that district is in Lewis County. But for the other remaining school districts, you have to live in the school district and the director district that you're going to run for. If you don't know your director district, that's okay. We have maps on our site, and we're going to go over those here shortly. The fire commissioners, they have to live within the district for the fire authority. If they have a sub-district, then they also have to live in that sub-district. And the last one is the last two, excuse me, Parks and Recreation Commissioner and Cemetery District Manager. They have the same requirements, just that you have to be a registered voter and live in those districts. I'm going to pause now. Does anybody have any questions now that we've gotten started? Okay. All right. We'll have time later. So if you think of something, just hold on to it. So now we'll talk about we're going to touch on this candidates, campaigns, and jurisdictions page just a little bit here. This is where you'll go to find those maps. You can see here there's a tab for district and precinct maps. In the next presentation, we'll break that down just a little bit, or later on in this presentation, we'll break that down just a little bit and show you what that looks like. But again, it's really easy to find. It's right there on our site. Filing week. This is important. This is when the online module will be open. So there's 3 ways to file. You can file by mail, and that starts as early as April 21st. It ends Friday, May 9th. Filing must be received by 5 p.m. in our office, not postmarked. Postmarks are not accepted, so we have to receive it. And if it has a filing fee, we also have to have received that by 5 p.m. on May 9th. I'm going to say that a few more times. So in-person and online filing starts Monday, May 5th at 8 a.m. and ends Friday, May 9th at 5 p.m. Our business hours that week will be 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then on the date to withdraw. Well, we have finally moved to our forever home, this location that we have here on 29th Avenue. It's 2915 29th Avenue in Tumwater. I'll show you that address again. It's also on our website and on the candidate guide. And if you have any questions, you can always email us, contact us. So,
Jamie, I have,
Excuse me, I'd like to mention one thing quickly about the online candidate filing. That's open 24/7. So it opens on the 5th. Thought it was 9 a.m., correct?
8.
They've changed
Right.
it? Okay,
Yep.
so 8 a.m., but you can file at any time up until the last day at 5 p.m.
Jamie, why would someone choose to do the mail-in or in person or online? What's the differences there?
Great question. And yeah, it's a personal choice. I think some people don't want to go. They don't want to go the online route. They just prefer the paper route. sometimes if you're not sure, if you have questions, you might want to come into the office and we can help you with that too. Also, if you want to pay with cash or a check, it's easier if there's a filing fee for the office that you're applying for or filing for, you might want to come into the office just so that you can pay right there on the spot.
Is one more advantageous than the other?
Actually, well, they're all the same except that the online filing you can do it, like Mary said, it's open 24 hours a day, and from the time it opens to the time it closes, whereas the office is not open, outside of business hours. And then with the mail, it's just that you're kind of on your own as far as if you understand the process, great. But otherwise, we can't help you as much there. And there aren't as many as instructions. If you do it online, there's also lots of instructions, and we'll show you that too.
Does any of those, I have a lot of questions, sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Does any of those determine where your name is placed on the ballot, one over the other, or?
Not at all. Not at all. No, we'll get to that. Well, yeah, that's on the list. Yeah, great question. Nope, it's all the same. The After filing closes, we do what's called a lot draw, and I'll touch on that here shortly. So,
Thank you.
yeah. But yes, as Mary said, the online filing is open 24 hours. And it ends right at 5 p.m. on the 9th. And that is a hard stop. That's in RCW. That's in state law. We can't give you any wiggle room. We can't open it for you, and if you're in the middle of a filing at 5 p.m., it's going to kick you out. It's not be online by 5 p.m. It shuts off at 5 p.m. And if you're going to go the online route again, it works really well. Chrome works the best though. Google Chrome is the best browser for that service. And like we've said, we recommend filing online. We'll go into that a little bit more. We suggest you file early in the week, just so that if something goes wrong, you can contact us. We can help you out. And then, because we can't give you any kind of extension after the 9th. And then all filings must have full payment in order to be considered a full filing. If you just turn in if there's a filing fee and we don't get that, then it's not a filing, even if we get we get a declaration of candidacy. You can pay online with Visa, MasterCard, or American Express. You can pay with check or cash, and it has to be paid to the auditor's office by 5 p.m. on Friday, May 9th. The last day to withdraw, and that form is on the candidate page that we showed you earlier, is Monday, May 12th at 5 p.m. Filing fees per state law are non-refundable. So we can't reimburse you. It also doesn't transfer to another. So if you file for the wrong office, you want to file for another office, there's no way we can transfer that. That's the way it's written. So, and then make sure. Oh yes, sorry. There may be several positions open that you're qualified to run for. Make sure it's the one that you want to run for, because again, that filing fee is non-refundable, and we'd hate to see you have to pay it twice. This is the Washington State Declaration of Candidacy form. This is not the online form, but you can get this form online. It is the paper form that you would mail in, or if you want to come into our office and get one, we can give you one. It's pretty self-explanatory. It has all this information that we need to collect. A note that this ballot information is important. That's what is going to appear on the ballot. In this election, you don't have to put a party because it's a nonpartisan election, but we want to get your name. We'll go over that information, what can be printed, what can be on what your name can be, excuse me, here shortly. And then the campaign information, this is how the public will contact you. The personal information here at the top, that is as you're registered to vote. That's how we know qualified for your position, this is how these two boxes here, that's how the public's going to contact you. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. Get started now. That's our best advice. We just is make sure that you're ready to go. It only takes a few minutes to actually do the filing online. What takes up the most time is all the stuff that you have to get ready that goes along with it. Make sure your voter registration is up to date because that's how the system is going to look you up, and you probably like to vote for yourself on election day too. You can start thinking about and should start thinking about, if you're going to run, what you want to say in your candidate statement, and then get a photo. We'll talk about those here in a little bit. If you don't have a photo available, just a cell phone photo will work. Most of the cell phones that are being used have a great camera. They'll do wonders. I filed myself in the testing environment this morning with a photo off of my phone that it's fairly new, but it's not brand new, you know, so it worked fine. But if you have any questions, we can help you with that. And then if you want to have contact information that's not your personal contact information, go ahead and start thinking about that now too, because you might want to get a Gmail address that's specific to your campaign, or a Yahoo, or there's a bunch of different places. You might want to get a website or a PO box. It's up to you, but the voters will need a way to be able to contact you as a candidate, and there are a number of services so that you don't have to use, you know, your personal email or whatever you use every day. Any questions before I move on? Candidate order on ballot. So, as Mary said earlier, 3 candidates have to appear to trigger a primary. With the only one exception is that Parks and Rec and cemetery districts do not appear in the primary election. So, other than that, after filing closes on Friday, shortly after 5 p.m., we will do what's called a lot draw, and you're welcome to attend, or we'll be live streaming it on Facebook. But basically, if we're going to draw numbers out of a hat, we're going to take whatever the it's actually a can that we have, and it will whatever the position is that had the most candidates file for it, we'll take that many numbers. So let's say 6 people, that's the most that filed for any one office. They all filed for mayor of Yelm. So we've got 6 candidates for the mayor of Yelm. We'll put 6 numbers in that bucket, and then we'll draw them out one by one. And whatever order they come out in is the order that they will appear on the ballot. And then on the general election ballot, whoever gets the highest number of votes in the primary will appear first on the ballot. Voters pamphlet. We're going to cover this in depth as we go along, but the statements and photos are due by May 20th at 5 p.m. And this is another one of those things we can't give any wiggle room on, you know. So that's set in our administrative rules. We will publish photos and statements the same way you send them to us. So we're not going to make any grammatical changes, any spelling errors. We're not going to correct that. So you want to make sure that you proofread that many times before you send it to us. And then another thing to think about is that your photo and statement will appear exactly in the same in both the primary and general pamphlet. So make sure that the statement that you're writing isn't specific to the primary. It's going to be used for both. And then again, that deadline to submit is 5 p.m. on Tuesday, May 20th. So one thing too is that after you file, if you choose to file online, one of the great things is that you get a link, you get an email, and that will once your candidacy is approved, you can submit this information all online. It's very simple, and we'll walk you through it here shortly. And if you have any problems with it while you're doing it, you can give us a call. The statement, there's basically three things here. There's a biography, a statement, and a photo. The biography and statement, the biography is a 100-word section, and the statement is a 200-word section. You can't use those words across, like you can't put all your 100 words into your statement. You can't put your 200 words into your biography. The biography is 100. The statement is 200. The biography is divided into 4 categories, and we'll cover those here in a little bit. And then for photos, like I said, current photo, head and shoulders, plain background, and no smaller than 1200 by 1500 pixels. If that's confusing, don't worry. Like I said, most cell phones are taking pictures much larger than that at this point anyway. So if it's a recent photo, it's probably going to work. But again, if you have questions, just let us know. You can also submit electronically. You can also submit to pamphlet by email if you want to just send them to us directly. Any questions? We're going to get into some of this a little more in depth as we go along. So. Yes, and again, why wait? Submit your statement and photo at the time of filing. We highly suggest you have till that later deadline, but get it in early. Don't wait. We would hate to see, something happen and you can't get your statement in, by the deadline. Because again, we don't have any wiggle room there. Back to that candidates, campaigns, and jurisdiction page. Again, ton of information there. All of much of what we're talking about tonight will be there. We're gonna record this and hopefully get a copy of this on there as soon as we can, so that if you want to go back and watch part of it again, you can. But like I said, lots of information there. And if you have any questions, let us know. There's also this data and research tab that's important. It's going to provide you with a whole bunch of different resources. You can find a list of current elected officials, recount information, and information about the canvassing board. The election archive is also a really great resource. It has all kinds of stuff in it. It has information about every election since 1985. It includes the final official results, precinct breakdowns, certification, and voters pamphlets. If you need a place to start with your statement, or you want to see what some good photos look like, tons of options in there. You can look and see what other people have written and what it will kind of look like when it's done. And then finally, this is the voter registration form. I'm going to go ahead and turn this presentation over to my colleague, Riley. And if she will stop for questions if you have them too. So Riley, go ahead, take it away.
Thanks, Jamie. So this is the Washington State voter registration form. If you'd like to go out and do any registration drives and help register voters, this is most likely the form you'll be using. You can get these online. The Secretary of State's website offers them in all sorts of different languages, but they're also available at our office, at other government offices, local libraries, and organizations throughout the county. In order to help register voters, you need to make sure that you are collecting the correct information. So we'll break down this form for you. So the top portion will have all the personal information for a voter on it. We do need the voter's legal name, first and last, along with their date of birth and a residential address. We can't take just a PO box here. We need to know where they reside in order to determine what ballot to give them. However, they can provide a PO box as a mailing address. The next piece of required information would be in Section 2. They need to answer whether or not they are a citizen of the United States. Section 3 for military and overseas status would be optional. Section 4, we do need ID information. So for a driver's license, it would need to be a Washington State driver's license on the form. Otherwise, they can just use the last 4 of their social. And then lastly, we do need a signature here, not only them attesting that everything is true and accurate, but a signature that we can have on file to compare against their ballot. So new voters can choose to return these forms to us if they'd like, but if you are collecting them, please return them to us within 5 days of the voter signing them. That is in RCW. So we must receive them within 5 days of you collecting them. Registration forms will also need to be returned to us within 8 days of an election to meet registration deadlines. If anything is missing from this form, go ahead and still please return it to us. We'll contact the voter to get any of that missing information. Any questions on the registration form?
I got a couple questions.
Sure.
One under declaration and signature says I'm at least 16.
Yes.
How old do you have to be to vote?
So 17-year-olds can participate in primary elections. They cannot vote on anything getting determined in the primary. However, 16-year-olds can be pre-registered to vote.
Okay,
So they're a pending voter, essentially at that status. They're not participating in any elections.
but they would be registered at
They're
16.
they're pre-registered.
Okay. Would they have to register again?
No, at
Okay.
the time that they turn 18 or they become eligible to participate in an election, that is when they are registered.
And what did you say about 17 years old?
17-year-olds can participate in primary elections. They cannot vote on anything getting determined in that primary election, such as like a measure.
About school boards?
Mhm.
They could-
Yes, they could vote on the school board.
Only if they're going to turn 18
Team by election day.
by election day.
Thank you. I forgot to mention
By
that
the
part.
general
Yes.
election day.
Yes, they must be
Right.
turning 18 by general election day in order to participate in that primary.
So
Okay,
if they turn 18 actually on election day, we will mail them a ballot packet.
okay. What's the main reason you're telling us about the voter registration form? Is it because we might want to register people to vote that we run across when we're trying to get people to vote for us?
Yeah,
Exactly.
a
Okay.
lot of candidates go out and do some campaigning, registering voters in their area. And then they'll give those forms back to us so we can get those new voters registered or updated.
And so if I was doing it as a candidate and I did some, I would be the one bringing them into the office?
Yes, if the voter wants to just take the form and then return it on their own, they're more than welcome to do that. But if you are collecting them, then please return them to us again within 5 days.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions on the registrations? Okay. There is one more method to registering to vote. So you can register online. This is votewa.gov, votewa.gov. If you are already registered to vote or would like to update your voter registration, you can sign in using your first, your last name, and your date of birth. If you're not sure, you can plug in that information and it'll let you know if you're not registered and it'll prompt you to begin that process. The requirements are still the same for registering online. However, if you are using the last 4 of your social to register, you will need to be able to upload a photo of your signature using this method. Are there any questions on the online method? So for online candidate filing, again, you'll want to go to our website, thurstonwavotes.gov. There's going to be a big button on there that says file online. It will be available starting at 8 a.m. Monday, May 5th. and it closes Friday, May 9th at 5 p.m. Again, it closes exactly at 5 p.m. If you're in the middle of a filing, it will cut you off. However, you're able to file at 2 a.m. on May 7th. So it'll be open 24 hours during that period. Some benefits of filing online is you don't have to worry about parking or trying to find us. Once you file, you do get email notifications, such as when your filing has been accepted. Do note that that would only happen during our business hours. You'll also get email notifications when a candidate has filed against you, and if the race that you filed for has been triggered in the primary election. So this is what the landing page will look like when you file online. You must enter your first, your last name, and your date of birth. Note here that you should enter it in the way that you are registered to vote. So no nicknames for your first name, and the formatting sometimes can be an issue for some people. So for example, last names like mine, McAllister, sometimes they have a space between the MC and the A. And so it needs to be entered on this screen exactly how we have it on file. So if you're entering your information in and it doesn't let you in, and you know you're registered, you can just give us a call. We'll help you out and let you know exactly what that format issue may be. Forgot to mention that you can file online on your phone. However, it's not sized for the mobile device. So there would be a lot of scrolling up and down. It's much easier to do it on your computer, and it's best to do it on Chrome, like Jamie mentioned earlier. It does work on other browsers. Chrome just works the best. So once you've entered in your information, it will show your voter registration info. Some of this here has been just grayed out due to privacy reasons, but you will obviously see yours. And then please check this information, specifically your residential address. If that is not current, you can click the update button below and the system will prompt you through the steps to update your address or any other information. You can also give us a call and we can do most updates over the phone. If you make updates online, we do have to process it on our end before you can continue with your filing at the new address. So if you want it processed right away, the best thing to do is to give us a call, let us know you just updated online, and we'll push it through, and that way you can continue your filing. So once you verified all that information is correct, this is what the next page will look like. The screen will show which positions you filed for this year. So there won't be anything in here yet when you first begin. So you'll hit that create new button on the bottom right there. And then it'll bring you to a drop-down menu where you click into that select one box and a menu will appear for all the races available this year, and for ones that you are eligible for. So the system won't show you any ones in the districts that you don't reside in. So you'll select the position, and if it is a school district and you are needing to find out your director district, we're going to show you how to do that now. So you'll want to go to that candidates, campaigns, and jurisdictions link on our website. Click on the district and precinct maps link, and then navigate to the school districts. I do want to mention that we are doing some precinct maintenance. There is, this page will look slightly different from the photo that you're seeing right now once the precinct changes go into effect. However, director districts are not being affected by any of these changes, just precinct and city boundaries. and these changes will be reflected on our website by end of this week. So by the time you go to file and everything, you won't have to worry about any of that, but I just wanted you guys to be aware. So once you selected your school district, we're using Olympia as an example. That first link right there is a PDF. So if you click on that one, this is the kind of image that will appear. It can be really difficult to find very specific addresses using an image like this. So the second option available on our website is a Google Earth file. So you can click on that. If you don't have Google Earth, you can download it. And then once you click on the file, it'll download on your computer and you'll want to open that up. Once Google Earth is opened up, on the top left of the screen there, you'll plug in your residential address. And then you'll hit search. And it'll drop a pin on the map. You'll want to click right next to the pin, not exactly on it. And this box will appear. It'll show all the address information. What you're looking for is kind of in the middle. It says Director DI. So for this example, we're showing you, this would be the Olympia Director District 2. So that's how you find your director district. And once you have your district selected, you will click Start. And then on this screen, you will need to enter your contact information and ballot name. You must enter this contact information here on the left. There are two different kinds for candidate, or there are two different kinds, candidate contact information and campaign contact information. The candidate contact info, that's how we, the elections office, will be reaching out to you. And also where the voter pamphlet information will be emailed to. This information is public and will be published on the online voter guide. We'll also publish information in the local voters pamphlet. However, if you enter campaign contact information, we'll use that in the published guide. For your ballot name, this must be your last name. It needs to be your legal name. Nicknames are allowed. So for example, Jamie's legal name is James, but he goes by Jamie. So he can put Jamie Davidsmeyer on the ballot here. You cannot put any titles such as doctor. So that cannot be on the ballot. Campaign contact information. So this is optional, but highly encouraged. This is how the public will be reaching out to you. You can enter as much or as little as you'd like here. So if you want to just put an email, that's completely fine. We do encourage you to do that. If you're worried about sharing your personal information, it's very easy to set up a separate email and or phone number account. And there's many different websites that'll help you do that, and applications that will create a secondary phone number for you. So. And then lastly would be your campaign mailing address. If you have a specific PO box that you want any campaign materials mailed to. If you don't, and you just want them to go to you directly, then you can click the box on the top there that says use address on file, and the system will autofill the mailing address on your voter registration in on these fields. Clicking continue, you'll see a summary page here. Please check this over and make sure you don't have any mistakes. Again, we've censored some of the information on the screen, but you will see your full information when you do this. And then next would be the declaration of candidacy oath. By affirming this, you're agreeing that all information you've submitted is true and that you're willing to serve. If the information provided is found false, it can disqualify you from running for that office. Now, if the office you're running for has a filing fee, at this point, you'll be prompted for the payment. For our example that we're showing you, Port does have a $72 filing fee. You can kind of see that on the bottom right. Online accepts Visa, MasterCard, and American Express, like Jamie had mentioned earlier. So you'll just go through and fill out all these fields if that's the method you choose. You can also choose to pay by cash or check later on. But again, it has to be in our hand by 5 p.m. on May 9th. So if you submitted your filing and then forget to bring that check over to us, it's not a complete filing, unfortunately. So if you choose to skip it, that's what this page will look like. And then you'll click the Submit and Pay Later button. And we'll take you to the last summary page where you can choose to print this for your records, log out of the system, or go back to the candidate portal by clicking the candidate portal button. It'll take you back to this page. This will show you the offices that you have filed for. So for this year, you can only file for one office. So you will only see one here unless you have withdrawn and then resubmitted. So the example that we're showing on the screen here, that first line says withdrawn, and then the second one says submitted. So that's why there's two. Again, withdrawals, they are due by May 12th per state law, and filing fees are non-refundable. Are there any questions about the online method? All right. Jamie is going to talk more about candidate statement and photo.
All right. So once you have submitted your filing and it's been approved, you've paid your filing fee if there is one. Once you're going to get an email in the contact at the contact email for the candidate contact email. And that email is going to have a link in it that will take you to the voter pamphlet information upload portal. And we'll go ahead and take a look at that right now. The very top, you're going to see an instructions page. This is what those instructions are going to look like. Fairly straightforward. Basically what we've talked about so far. One thing to note here, it says that it must not be larger than 5 megabytes. That would be a very large photo. If you have problems, though, let us know. Otherwise, everything here is basically what we talked about so far as how to what you can enter. This just gives you some information about the editor itself, and the copy and paste function is just a little different. I'll show you here in just a minute. So the next section, the first thing they want you to do is upload your photo. You have two choices. You can choose not to submit a photo. If you don't want to, that's fine. It's your choice. You click that button and you're done. You'll still do your statement further down, but you don't have to worry about your photo anymore. If you want to upload a photo, you're going to click this browse button here, right there. Zoom in just a little bit. Once you click that browse button, it's going to launch a window on your computer. It's going to ask you to select a file. So it's best to save that file somewhere easy to find. I like to put it on my desktop when I'm doing this kind of thing, when I have to upload a photo. And again, most cell phones are going to take a great photo for this exact kind of thing. To prove that, here is my photo from this morning when I filed in the testing environment. And you can see, it's just a head and shoulders. That's all we need. We don't need a lot of room above your head. We don't need anything below your shoulders. This is what we're looking for here. If you click browse and you choose a photo and then it uploads and you realize it's the wrong photo, no big deal. Just click that browse button again and you can choose a different photo. If your photo you think has a little too much room in it, you can click the crop button and narrow it down so that it's just your head and shoulders. Sometimes maybe there's the plant. I would take a specific photo for this event, for this purpose. I wouldn't go get one that's, you and a friend. It's just easier if it's just you. But if you do need to crop, click that button. It'll launch another window here, and then it'll let you drag those blue boxes there to kind of size your photo. That distortion you see is just part of the editor. It won't appear in your final photo. I actually didn't use these, so I just clicked close. But if you get it the way you want it to look and you hit crop, it'll save it over what you had just uploaded. So when you're done, just click that, and it will, like I said, if you don't want to crop it, if you decide you want to, just click close and it'll go back to what you already had. Next section is the statement and the biography. We're going to start with the biography. Now you can choose again to say, I do not submit a statement or biography. If you don't submit a photo, we're going to put in a little placeholder that's just a silhouette that says no photo submitted. And then if you don't submit anything for your biography and statement, we're going to print no information submitted. And I'll show you what that'll look like here in just a minute. The biography section, again, is 100 words across those 4 categories. So you may choose to use 100 words however you see fit across 4 categories. Maybe you need 50 for your elected, or maybe you need 10 for your elected experience and 50 for your other professional experience. And then you have to divide those last 40 up over the other 2. It's up to you. One great thing is that if you can see up here, it says 100 words remaining. It's gonna count down the words as you type or as you paste things in. If you want to paste things in, again, what you're gonna do is you'll click into this box here, and then Control V is paste. Once you do that, it's gonna bring up this box. You'll do the same thing again, Control V, and it'll paste just like a normal Word document would. And then, like I said, it's going to count down. So it'll show you how many words you have remaining. You can see we put 10 words in here. There's 4 down here in the community service, if that's a little cut off. And so we've still got 90 words left. If you leave one of these sections blank, that's okay. We're just going to put in no information submitted for that one section. Those words, no information submitted, won't come out of your 100 word. We're not going to subtract anything. So if you put 100 words in elected experience, we're going to put no information submitted in the rest of them, but we're not going to subtract, whatever that is from the remainder. You still get your 100 words. So then we're going to move on to the statement section. This is all on one long page. You'll just kind of scroll continuously down, and the submit button is at the bottom. So the next section is that statement. Again, you have 200 words for this section. We cannot give you any more. Don't ask. We can't. It's just not something we can do. They're determined by our pamphlet administrative rules, which you can find on our website, thurstonwavotes.gov. Make sure you're thinking about how you want to spend those 200 words. You don't have to use all of them. You can use 50 words if you want. You can use 25. It's up to you. But you can only use 200. And then we can only allow 4 paragraphs. It'll actually let you put more than 4 paragraphs in. But if you do, we're going to call you and ask you which ones you want us to put together. And the same thing, it shows you how many words you have remaining. Then it'll show you this down here. You can see when you hit a hard return, it puts in some good space in between there. So it's pretty obvious where your paragraphs are. But if we have questions, we'll ask you. And so then the next thing it'll give you is another opportunity to enter that campaign phone, email, website. So this is important. If you don't have that ready when you're going to file, this is another opportunity to put that in. So if you used your personal information to file, and then since then you've come up with a Gmail address or a campaign phone that's not your own personal or a website, you can enter that information here. If you left it blank earlier, you can change it here.
Jamie, I have one question about the words. Are we talking a word is a legitimate word, no matter how long it is?
Yeah, well, so yes, there are some stipulations in our administrative rules. We've had some interesting situations come up in the past with people trying to hyphenate things, run things together, use hashtags as one word and stuff like that. So there are some rules, and those are they're also in the candidate guide too. So, but if you have any questions, just let us know, and we can help you out with that too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great question. So yeah, so that you can change that campaign information there, and then once you're done, or once you get down here, it's going to show you a preview, and you can see I've it'll show you all the correct information that you entered over here. I've censored my own personal information just because this is a test, So, but then it'll show you your statement and it'll show you what you wrote and exactly how you submitted it. Again, we're not going to do any kind of editing, so make sure you really proofread that before you submit it. And then when if you feel like you're ready to go, oh, I'm sorry. One more thing. If you don't submit anything, that's what it's gonna show. No information submitted there. So if you leave one of those blank, it's gonna populate it with that. So yeah, once you're ready to go, you've proofread everything, you've read it aloud, you've had somebody else read it to you, you've read it to your dog, you've read it to the wall. Anything you can think of, read it out loud. I really strongly suggest that. So it works really well for proofreading. Make sure that you're ready to go. You can click that submit button, and when you do, you'll see this green banner up at the top there. And so once you've done, you'll see this page and it'll have that preview. You can scroll down, it'll show you everything you just submitted. And at the bottom of the page, you'll have the option to print it for your records. And then once you make it to this screen, you're done. You have filed and you've turned in all your voter pamphlet information. We might contact you again if there's like 5 paragraphs, or if you used any kind of emphasis in your writing other than italics. We only allow italics as emphasis. So no bold, no underline. And then, or if there's a problem with the content, which is very rare, you want to just in general make your statement about you, what you're going to do, and not about someone else. And then once we review, like I said, once we review it to make sure it conforms to those rules, we'll approve it. And then you'll get a notice. And then later on, when we go to print the pamphlet, this is what it'll look like. This is Auditor Hall's profile from the voter pamphlet profile from the 2022 election. So you can see how it's broken down there, and it'll look really similar to this. The fonts might be a little different. I think the state template changed just a little bit, but it's the same layout. The pictures, everything will be up at the top, and then the biography and statement will lay out like that. You can see the 4 paragraphs, the contact information at the bottom. It doesn't have the address, like I said, but there's a way for the voters to contact Auditor Hall if they have questions about her statement. And then just make sure, again, that you're proofreading and that you're not using any of those other emphasis marks. Again, if you've got 5 paragraphs, we'll contact you. If your picture has, if you're wearing there's a bunch of rules. If you're wearing a hat, if you've got a weird, background, if you're wearing a shirt that says something, we might contact you and ask you to submit a new one to us. So other than that, the only other thing is that once we get to this stage, I'll make a proof. It'll look just like this, and I will send it to you. At that time, you won't be able to make any changes, but you will be able to make sure that we are printing what you sent us. So if you find a grammatical error, I'm sorry, it's too late. I cannot change that, but you can make sure that I didn't make that grammatical error when I copied it into the system. Okay, but we're going to keep a record of what you sent us, and we'll compare it to that. So you won't be able to sneak anyone past us, but if we did make a mistake, please let us know and we'll correct that. And that is that. Do we have any questions before I turn it back over to Auditor Hall? About any part of the presentation too. It's open questions for now.
Hello, this is Tom Culleton. I'm a current fire commissioner with West Thurston, and I recently filed my PDC information. Does that account for anything that's necessary for the filing?
Nope, that's a separate, that's the not, it will not, nothing will transfer over or anything like that. No, it's a separate,
Yeah,
completely
those are
separate system. Yeah.
All
two
right.
completely different things and different requirements. And the
right.
systems aren't connected.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? If you do think of something after tonight, no big deal. You've got questions, you can give us a call or shoot us an email. I've got the pamphlet email address up there. We have an elections email address. It's just the same, elections at Thurston. You can call us during business hours. You can ask for me, but there's a lot of people here. If you just want to ask your question, if someone that you're talking to doesn't know the right answer, they're going to get you to the person who does. So yeah, so for as far as I'm concerned, thank you and for attending. Auditor Hall, do you have any final remarks you'd like to add?
I just want to say thank you to all the candidates for stepping up. Public service is quite an honor, and it's really important for people, everyday people, to participate in our democracy. So thank you. We are here to serve you. So please don't hesitate to reach out at any time during your campaign if you have any questions at all.
I've got a question. As you may suspect from my questions, I'm thinking about the school board. How would you know if you are talking to a person who needs to register? How would you know if they're in your specific district within this school district so they could vote for you if you were interested in that? How would you know that? How would you get that? They would not know that, maybe, probably not.
I would say
So
most
you could
voters will
use
not know.
you could use your phone to pull up that little map. There, are organizations that can give you that level of district information. Most of the time you have to pay for it. Some political parties, if you have any relationships with them, do get that granular. But you can also carry a tablet to help you, a little iPad or something to help you zoom in on the map.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Riley, was there another, were you going to say something else too? I don't know if you had another.
No, Auditor Hall covered it.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Yeah, and if they have questions, that they can also call us too. They can check their, they can contact us. So
Now, they could also get that in their voter registration, correct? They could go onto VoteWall and look that up.
Yes, they can log into their voter registration online at votewa.gov. However, it will only show them the school district. It won't show them what specific director district they are in.
Thanks.
yeah, and again, if you have any questions after this, please let us know. We're here to help.
Any other questions? Well, thank you all for coming. Have a good evening.
Thank you.